My 600-Pound Life documents the struggles of morbidly obese people attempting to regain control of their lives. For them, this is their last hope. While the TLC series has been successfully running since 2012, it's also caused quite the controversy. Here's why. One of the biggest controversies surrounding My 600-Pound Life is the shower scene that is shown near the beginning of each episode. The idea of appearing naked on television is a daunting and horrifying prospect, to say the least, for most people. However, the horror factor increases tenfold when you're morbidly obese and constantly subjected to public ridicule, bullying, and judgment because of your weight. As per In Touch, the intent is to provide an unedited view of what it's like to wake up, take a shower, and get dressed when you're somebody trapped inside of a 600-pound-plus body. There's no getting away from the fact that it makes for uncomfortable viewing. Some participants are incapable of fitting into their bathroom due to their size and are forced to rely on others washing them in bed. In other cases, they must resort to being hosed down in an outdoor trough. Producers allegedly insist that the shower scenes are a prerequisite to appearing on the show. One of the participants filmed during a back porch hose down, Nicole Lewis, admitted she was so desperate to undergo surgery that she felt she had to comply. She told Rover Radio, "I know I needed help, and my main focus was to do this for my children. When they came to my house, they were like, okay, we have to do a shower scene. We have to do real-life stuff for real, and for you to be a part of this process." In many instances, it isn't just patients' weight and lifestyle that change post-surgery. My 600-Pound Life boasts a high rate of divorce among participants. Some might be surprised, thinking that if a partner became fitter, mentally healthier, and more self-confident, it could only improve a relationship. On the flip side, though, anybody who's actually watched the show can't help but notice that a considerable number of the partnerships featured are codependent, and in some cases, totally toxic. A 1978 study reported via PubMed on marital changes after intestinal bypass surgery found that if a morbidly obese person's weight decreases dramatically, it frequently results in relationship issues. The report stated, "Sexual problems were particularly troublesome and affected both members in the spousal pairs. The results point to the role of massive obesity as a selective and stabilizing factor in the marriages of this subset of overweight persons." Jalyn Whitworth, who appeared in Season 2, was one of the participants whose weight loss resulted in the end of her marriage. She explained in Life After Extreme Weight Loss, a My 600-Pound Life follow-up project, "My life is so much better now, and part of that is because Gareth and I are finally officially divorced. He didn't want me to lose the weight, and I didn't deserve to feel bad about choosing my health." My 600-Pound Life manages to radically change many of its participants' lives for the better, providing them with free treatment and surgery. But it comes at a high price. As many reality TV show contestants have learned, putting your whole life out there for the world to see and critique can lead to some very negative consequences. But if you're morbidly obese and already face ridicule and discrimination in your everyday life, the aftermath can be absolutely brutal when the cameras stop rolling. Justin Asante appeared on the 5th season of My 600-Pound Life with his brother Steven. The siblings, who tipped the scales at 600 and 800 pounds respectively, were two of the show's most controversial participants, creating never-ending chaos and drama galore. Steven was the instigator behind the pair's on-screen tantrums, but that didn't mean that his younger brother got away scot-free when it came to the unavoidable after-episode airing Public Judgment Day. Justin wrote about his post-show life in a thread called "Ask Me Almost Anything" for the My 600-Pound Life subreddit. He stated, "I will break my silence as long as it doesn't involve weight loss or behind the scenes." Asante opened up about the negatives of reality TV stardom, which inevitably include bullying, mockery, and persecution. Justin shared, "I went from no one knowing I existed to being harassed all day on social media. My business and phone calls, I wouldn't do it again." My 600-Pound Life has been slapped with multiple lawsuits. The show's production company, Megalomedia, has been accused of fraud, gross negligence, and other allegations. According to Starcasm, Megalomedia is the subject of 10 separate lawsuits, all filed by or on behalf of show participants. The family of L.B. Bonner was first to file suit in January 2020, alleging the company's actions contributed to his suicide in 2018. Per a document obtained by Courthouse News, Jean Covey filed suit on behalf of her mom, Barbara Fallow. She claimed that Megalomedia refused to pay Fallow's medical bills as previously agreed. David Bolton's petition asserted that there were causes of action for negligence, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and other violations. Bolton is seeking $1 million in compensation for inhumane and irresponsible treatment during filming for his episode. These few are among multiple others filing against the series. An attorney named Tony Busby, who represents the plaintiffs, weighed in. He told Starcasm, rather than focus on the welfare of the patients, the medical staff and producers of this show are instead focused on ratings. Although many find the show entertaining because of the complete lack of aftercare and due to the way these people are treated, the show wreaks havoc on those that appear. Unless, quote, dramatic changes are made, the Texan Legal Eagle has vowed to get the show taken off of the air. My 600-pound life participants supposedly get a new lease on life in the process of the series. However, they pay a price for it, as the show's rigorous filming schedule has been accused of being exhausting and highly pressured. In a Facebook video that's since been deleted, Stephen Asante, who appeared in Season 5, complained about the grueling filming demands. He said, "It was so exhausting, to the point that there are days that I don't even want to film, and I try to avoid being filmed, but the camera crew, especially one of them in particular, is so persistent that he will continue to knock on the door and knock on the door and knock on the door until you can't stand it anymore. It's just a lot of work." In a lawsuit filed against the show's production company, Megalomedia, filming pressures were linked to a participant's suicide. L.B. Bonner featured in Season 6 and was filming a 2018 Where Are They Now follow-up episode, when he tragically took his own life. The Bonner petition asserted that there were causes of action for negligence and gross negligence, as well as wrongful death and survivorship. Among many other allegations, the petition also asserted Megalomedia's manipulation of Bonner and his family for dramatic purposes took a tremendous psychological toll. Bonner expressed suicidal thoughts to Megalomedia on multiple occasions, which Megalomedia recognized but did nothing to address.
There's days where I feel so worthless, I think.
I'd be better off in the ground.
Given the severity of participants' food addiction, tragic circumstances, past traumas, eating habits, and mental health struggles, it's no surprise that my 600-pound life doesn't always end in success. Although many of Dr. Now's patients drop an astounding amount of weight and embrace a healthier lifestyle, not all do. Some don't lose any weight, while others regain all of the pounds post-surgery. Penny Sager appeared in Season 2 of My 600-Pound Life. It soon became apparent that she wasn't emotionally equipped to overcome her raging food addiction. Initially, Sager did manage to drop 35 pounds, allowing her to undergo surgery. However, following her gastric bypass, she immediately began gaining weight again. Ignoring the advice of Dr. Now, Sager quit the program and fled back home. She quickly returned to her past bad eating habits and started piling on the pounds again. James King was treated by Dr. Now twice, and both times were a resounding failure. King's cravings for calorie-rich junk food were so intense that he'd eaten his way to an astounding 791 pounds. Instead of dropping the 200 pounds required for surgery, though, he managed to gain weight, thanks to his enabler wife smuggling fast food into the hospital. King's second attempt at treatment ended even worse. Once again, he gained weight instead of losing it, resulting in him tipping the scales at 840 pounds. The Sun reported that King had lost 340 pounds since that second appearance. Tragically, he died in April 2020 at 49 years old. My 600-pound life isn't some participant's first time at the reality show rodeo. Before taking his temper tantrum-throwing show on the TLC road, Stephen Asante was quenching his attention-seeking thirst on YouTube under the name John Asante.
I am so sick of this, okay?
Stephen's content is questionable, as evidenced by a video called Fat Boy Get Down Nasty. Stephen also used the guise of John Asante to appear on Dr. Phil's House of Hate. Asante was supposedly on the show because he hated thin people. However, he may actually have been simply seeking attention. Pauline Potter appeared in Season 3 of My 600-Pound Life. She was all about spotlight-seeking opportunities, just like Asante. Potter had also appeared on Dr. Phil's show. She weighed 643 pounds and claimed to be the world's heaviest woman. Potter continued her media assault in a conversation with Dr. Drew, where she insisted she'd lost 100 pounds from, quote, marathon sex sessions with her ex. Potter chooses to live a more private life these days, but she did pop up on Dr. Now's Insta recently. He shared a before and after photo of Potter, who lost a lot of weight. Stephen Asante also appears to be enjoying a relatively low-key life. Stephen married wife Stephanie in 2018, whom he met on YouTube Live. They're currently separated but trying to, quote, work things out. As a society, we've pretty much agreed, in theory, that it's not cool to ridicule people about their weight, size, or body shape. Sadly, however, that doesn't mean the ridicule has stopped. According to Health Day, 61% of the population in 2013 considered it no big deal to talk smack about people's weight, and there was a presumption that overweight individuals are, quote, lazy, undisciplined, dishonest, and unintelligent. Fatphobia is a real thing, and many accuse My 600-Pound Life of perpetuating it.
A lot of people have problems and they could just leave them at home.
In an opinion piece for NBC Think, Derek Clifton argues that it's time for the show to end. He said of the series, "It's one of the many productions that pretend to spread the gospel of body positivity and acceptance while profiting off of the exploitation of fat bodies and trauma." Feminist writer and social commentator Roxane Gay, author of Hunger, a memoir of my body, also accuses the show of being shady. She told Vogue, "I live in Indiana part-time, and I'm from the Midwest. And I assure you that there are many fat people in the world, and their stories deserve to be told in a way that's not as exploitative as My 600-Pound Life." Registered dietitian Abby Sharp explained why she thought the show might be causing more harm than it is good in a post on her blog, Abby's Kitchen. Sharp listed 5 reasons. She wrote, "It perpetuates fatphobia and voyeurism. It dismisses the important connection between trauma and obesity. It provides inadequate emotional support. Participants are portrayed without dignity. And it positions weight loss surgery as a quick fix." My 600-Pound Life has helped many desperate people over the years. Thanks to weight loss surgery, morbidly obese men and women who were literally eating themselves to death have been introduced to healthier ways of life. The show seemingly attempts to limit the sensational and voyeuristic aspects and strives for compassion and empathy. However, it's a fine line to walk. And many believe that ultimately, My 600-Pound Life is more harmful than inspirational. If you or anyone you know is having suicidal thoughts, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK 8255.